Alrighty, we are live.
Woo! I'm just gonna tweet that we are live.
Awesome. Yeah. Add it to the old Instagram stories.
At least today I don't have the wicked windstorm outside my window.
Good to see that you didn't get blown away by the storm.
Nope. There are a few fallen tree branches that we had to navigate around the next morning, but nothing insane.
I need to easily just I feel like an old person when it comes to technology. I don't really understand what I'm doing half the time.
Hello.
Maybe. How do I do this? Are you still there?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
If you go to comments on the right-hand side above banners, you can see.
Are you still there?
Yeah.
Okay.
If you go to comments on the
Sorry, I was on YouTube at the same time trying to make sure I had the right link.
I was wondering, I'm like, I can hear myself. What's going on?
That was my bad.
No worries.
Hey, princess. All right, let me figure my shit out. So there's that. Then I gotta add the link because I'm a grandmother and it takes me forever to do anything.
You're not a grandmother.
So did you get your copy of your book? Did that ever happen?
No, it still hasn't shown up yet. I do have the ebook though, so I'm gonna be reading it on my phone.
Okay.
I'm finally gonna be starting it this morning, so we'll see how far I can get in today. I read it on my phone hilariously the first time.
Really?
And I read it at my work. It was hilarious. It was a really early morning and nothing was happening, so I just picked it up from the library on a whim,
Mm-hmm.
and I flew through it during my shift. So
good. Done. Okie dokie. So that's on my story.
Amazing. Now people know we're doing something.
Anyway, that'll just be that for now. So people will find their way. If it's just us and Princess, that's all right. I enjoy.
That is totally fine too. Absolutely.
How's
your week been?
What were you saying?
I was just saying, how's your week been?
It's been pretty good. We just did some Christmas pictures, family Christmas pictures this morning, which was tried to be scheduled for last weekend, but it just didn't happen because Teddy wasn't feeling good the last weekend.
Right.
And then he wasn't feeling good and had 104-degree fever on Thursday. And I'm like, are we going to be able to do pictures Sunday? Which thankfully he feels better, but
that's good.
Today so far has been pretty good. What about you?
It's been all right. On Friday, I got my booster.
Oh, yeah.
I got a Spider-Man Band-Aid.
Cute.
And so the last 2 days I've kind of been knocked out.
Yeah.
Just on and off sleeping and laying in bed doing nothing. So, that's fun. I finished the matzo ball last night.
I saw your post about it and that you were super unhappy with it. I need to pick your brain about it a little bit.
Yeah, it really disappointed me, unfortunately. It was just a lot of things in combination that made me like, "Oh, okay."
Okay, thanks. Yeah,
the first couple pages, I was very happy with it.
Yeah, I don't know why authors, it's like they run it into the ground on purpose sometimes. You were going so good, and then you just
Yeah, it was unfortunately, the characters started to get really, really drive me crazy. None of them had any real development, and they both acted like they were still 12, at the summer camp, and it's been 18 years. They're both in their 30s, for God's sakes. They're both supposed to be successful people, and they're still uh treating each other and treating their friends and family like they're a 12-year-old. They're very immature.
Hmm.
And I don't know, I just didn't I didn't buy the actual romance, unfortunately. And then there were a few moments that were just really distasteful in my opinion.
Yeah.
That just made it overall not great. Um, I'm wondering, I'm like, who was the sensitivity reader for this? Because I think they did a very bad job. Like,
I wonder that all the time, like, how things get through publishing and have such glaring issues.
and
Never
like,
ceases to amaze me.
I was so excited about it because it was finally like a holiday romance that wasn't like based on Christmas or Christian holidays. It
Mhm.
was based on Hanukkah, and then also the main character had a chronic illness, and I was like, "This is fantastic. I love this representation, especially in romance. I love disability rep in romance." And then the rest of it just went down the drain.
Oh god.
But it's fine. We're gonna move on. We're gonna be reading Bear and the Nightingale, so I'm gonna be having a good time.
Yes, best to leave that behind. I figure it's, like, 3:08. We could start here in 2 minutes, or we could start at 15 after and go for half an hour. It doesn't matter to
We can
me.
start in a couple minutes if you'd like. That sounds good.
Okay. I have not read much more of Bear and the Nightingale. Actually, I don't even know if I read any more of it since last time because just everything was really busy. But if I get tired of reading that, I also have It Happened One Summer, which I started and have had no time to read because of homework. So pretty
Nice.
excited to have some time. It's
Love
very
that.
uncommon anymore, it seems like.
If feel like staring at my phone is going for too long, I have also my next read for Reindeer Readathon, which is Mistletoe and Mr. Right.
Okay.
Sarah Morgenthau. It's the second book by the author of The Tourist Attraction, which I read uh, last month and I really enjoyed. So
Awesome.
this one's Christmas themed.
Yes, there's one that I've been seeing called Window Shopping that I'm super interested in, but I went to Barnes& and Noble to try to find it, and apparently they never got any. Yes, I wanna read that. And I
It's
guess Barnes.
it's
Hmm?
self-published, so not all Barnes and Nobles will have it.
Oh, okay, well,
I
that
got
would
mine on
explain.
Amazon, but you can always ask your Barnes and Noble to order some.
I may have to do that because I think people would buy it. She's
It was
carried it's Tessa Bailey, right? She's carried in Barnes& and Noble. I'm sure somebody would buy it.
it's Tessa Noble, and also it's been selling out like wherever it has been in person and even online. It's had to be reprinted a few times. Like it's it was very good.
Okay. Yeah, because I went looking for it. They're like, "Oh, we've never even gotten any in the store. We don't know if it's out of print." And I'm just like, "I've seen a lot of people with this book. I am sure that it's not out of print." So,
Yeah,
yeah.
I think it's just a matter of looking for it a bit more. Again, like I got mine on Amazon because I was searching for it as well and I couldn't find it on the Indigo website here in Canada. I was like, where is this book? Because I've seen
Mhm.
my friends that have it and I want to read it. It's
Yeah.
super short. It's like less than 300 pages, but it was like a really, really, really cute Christmas read.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I really liked it. This is my first Tessa Bailey, so I was like, I need to read more Tessa Bailey.
I've heard great stuff about It Happened One Summer because
Mhm,
it's
me
that
too.
one with her, and I'm just like, I've heard wonderful things, and I love Schitt's Creek, so.
Me too. But it's filmed partially in my town, and like it's based on towns like where I live. Like
Really? I
yeah,
didn't know that.
similar to like Letterkenny. I don't know if you've watched any or seen anything of Letterkenny. It's based on
Mm.
a town 20 minutes away from me. Like
Oh,
so
okay.
I love Schitt's Creek.
It's so I had stopped watching it in, season 5. I don't really know, like, I don't know what happened. I just stopped watching it, and the episode that I came back to was the Little Bit Alexis one, and I was just like, "Oh, Lord have mercy." I'd heard about it, I'd seen memes, but I'd never actually seen the episode before, and then I did, and I was like, "Oh, I understand now why there are so many memes about this."
I love that like a acoustic version or a more acoustic version, I should say, of Patrick's song "Simply the Best" that he uses to serenade David is
Yes.
going viral on TikTok. Like I'm seeing so many people using this sound, and I'm just like, "Do you know you're using a sound from Schitt's Creek? Because if so, I love you. But even if you're not, this is fantastic."
Yes. Oh, that was so good. It's such a good heartwarming show. I love it.
Right? I was getting my parents to watch it because like neither of them really were fans of like Eugene Levy's movies back in like the 80s.
Mhm.
And, but they both knew of Eugene Levy and Catherine O'Hara because 'cause they're both, like, Canadian icons.
Mhm.
And I was trying to get them to watch it, and they're just like, "Oh, I don't know. My dad's not into sitcoms," but I'm like, "Guys, you would love this." And it took
Right.
them a couple episodes, but I warned them about that, and they got through the first few episodes, and then they just marathoned the rest of it, and I think my mom has watched it, like, 3 times now. I'm like, "You're welcome."
Yeah. It was when I was pulling all-nighters when Teddy was a newborn, it was
Yeah.
when I was watching it, like, just over and over and over again, trying to stay awake because he would do this thing where he would, like you'd lay him down, and then he would, like, spit up, but it would come out his nose, and he'd choke. Anyway, freaked me out. So I didn't sleep for,
Yeah,
like, the first 3
valid.
months of his life, and so I would watch that or something at night, movies or whatever, and that's when I watched it, and I pretty sure that I watched all 5 seasons within a week or 2, and I don't
Amazing.
know. It's good. It's real good. But let's see, got 2 minutes until 15 after. I'm a stickler for 5s
So am
over
I.
10s.
Starting on a weird time is just weird.
So, I think I'll start the first sprint and read Bear and the Nightingale, and then maybe I'll switch over to It Happened One Summer. I also need to work in I got the always fully booked planner.
Ooh. Oh, right, I saw you unboxing part of it.
Yeah, I need to do that. I need to
That
flip
looks
through it,
gorgeous.
but I've already written in it, so I'm kinda waiting until I'm, like, have it filled in as much as I can to do, like, a flip through, to,
Yeah,
like, look pretty. But I haven't had time to sit down and do that, so
valid. I haven't gotten my bullet journal for next year yet, but I have, like, my plan of everything I'm gonna put in it,
mhm.
and so, like, I'm gonna have to I put it on my wish list on Amazon for, like, forever ago, so I don't know if my mom got it for me because she will not tell me. So I have to, like, wait until after Christmas to find out if she got my bullet journal for me because I just give her my list,
Yeah.
and I forgot that I was like, "Oh, crap." That was just there for me to remember to buy it, but now she may have bought it for me, so I can't buy it myself.
Well, hopefully she gets it for you, because otherwise you might have to wait and shipping and stuff, like, I would hate for you to not be able to start it in
Um,
January.
Hopefully not, because I use the Leuchtturm 17
Okay,
or 1517, which is pretty, like, easily readily available.
that's good.
I used to use Archer and Olive, but they're just so expensive to get to Canada,
Mm, mhm.
and this is, like, $15. So, I use these, and, they're usually, like, one-day shipping and stuff like that.
Okay. I think it is time to stop the sprinting.
Okay, let's go. 30 minutes.
5, yeah. Scroll across bottom. At Is it there? Can you see it?
Oh, it's there, but it still says use banners to summarize your talking points. It doesn't say the message.
Excuse you. Show.
Oh, there we go. We
Yeah.
still have a little there we go.
So
Perfect.
I'm still figuring it out.
Oh,
Okay.
good, we got this.
Imma mute myself so you don't hear my husband over here clicking away on his game that he's playing.
No worries.
Alrighty, happy reading.
30.
Hello.
Hello.
How far did you get?
Let's find out. Um, let's see. I don't know how to find out percentages on this yet.
What are you using, like the Kindle app or?
It's Libby because it's through the library. I have to do math. Give me a minute.
Oh, you're good.
Um, I'm about 10% of the way through.
Okay, cool.
I read 52 Libby pages, so ebook pages.
I don't really know what the difference. I know they're a lot as long, right?
It's 481 Libby pages according to this. So I don't know. They could be the same as the book pages, the way it's formatted. I'm on chapter 4. I just Peter just left for Moscow with Nikolai and Sasha.
Let me see.
Sasha is still only 6 years old.
3 chapter. Trying to see what it is in the book, just out of
No,
curiosity. So the end of chapter 4, did you say?
I'm like halfway through. I think I just got to the one break where it goes 2 weeks after setting out with plenty of delay but no disaster.
So that is, you're on page 33 of the book, so they are a little bit different.
All right. 30 pages, though. I'd say that's pretty good.
I read about 30 pages myself as well.
Nice. Where are you at?
Like, dang, I'm slow. Let's see. I don't want to give too many spoilers away, but the point where she is told that she's going to have to get married. So,
fun times.
Yeah. I hate Constantine.
Right?
He's the fucking worst.
He hasn't shown up yet, so I don't know. I'm not excited for when he shows up.
No. I appreciate what his character does for the story on my second read through. I think I was just angry reading his portion of the book the first time. It was just like, oh God, I'm just ready for him to be gone.
Yep.
But I definitely can see like why she chose to have him, because he definitely is that villain-ish character that you love to hate.
Yeah, he's very much like an antagonist almost, like not quite a villain, but he's not there to help.
Yeah.
And like I like it too because it kind of helps to add to a bit of like realism into the story in terms of the historical context and stuff like that. Like I don't know, I really like it. I loved reading the first chapter again and reading the like myth of Morozko, and like hearing the fairy tale kind of again, the folk tale. It's kind of like very similar to like it's got like a bit of a Cinderella aspect to it as well with like the stepmother and stepdaughter. But I thought it was super cute. And then I've already like gotten past the point where she goes into the woods and meets the one-eyed man and the rider when she's a little baby, and I'm just like, little do you know.
Yeah. I think that on my first read through, I missed a lot of the setup of Morozko. Like, obviously, I remember the story from the beginning, but then like where her father sees him in Moscow, and just like all the little details where he is interspersed throughout her life. I think I had forgotten or missed that sort of thing, and I noticed it a lot more the second read through, and I'm like, okay, this is all way more intertwined and whatnot than I recall it being, for sure.
I'm excited to pinpoint these now that I know what I'm reading and like I've read it before. This is my first time rereading it. So that's one of my favorite things about rereading books. And I think that's like one of the things that I always encourage people to reread books, especially ones that they really enjoyed, because you just pick up so much more than you ever would have on your first run. And like there's always more details to be noticed, and like it just makes the whole reading experience so much better.
Oh yeah, I definitely agree with that for sure.
Anybody that's in the chat, how did they do with?
It looks like we got one person. I'm not sure if it's Princess still hanging in there or if it's somebody else. Let's see. Yeah, we've gone like back and forth between having one and two people.
I'm excited to keep going and like see how far this is gonna go. I have the book until uh, the 1st of January, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, do it January 1st.
I've recently started using Libby and I really like it. Did you check it out for 21 days or just like the 14 days?
I did 21 just because I checked it out earlier in the month and I wasn't sure when I was going to be getting the physical copies. So I was like, just to be safe, I'm going to keep it
Mhm.
until the end of the month. So if I have to read the whole thing on the last day, I can.
That's good.
Because I've been trying to wait it for the books, but they're just taking a little while. It's because I ordered from Book Depository, so they're coming from the UK.
Oh, yeah.
So, but I want those covers. The UK covers are so much prettier than the US ones, and they're cheap. Like it's only like 15 to 16 Canadian dollars for one of the. I'm getting the paperbacks, but it's the UK paperback. So
Yeah.
I'm very excited.
The of the US covers, I have always loved the cover for The Bear and the Nightingale, but the other two I'm just like
Yeah,
about.
I
So
I get that they're trying to make them match, but there's something about the Bear and the Nightingale's cover that's just different. I think it's just because it is darker and it kind of fits the theme a bit more, in my opinion. Like you get the woods, you get the snow, you get the light from the cabin, but
yeah.
the girl in the tower is pretty
Hmm.
with like pink and the oranges. And then again, I haven't read Winter of the Witch, so I don't know how much the cover relates
Reflect.
to the actual story, but no, I like the British covers. I have something about the like British cover thing because I've been reading Robin Hobb this year as well.
Hmm.
She's the author of the Farseer trilogy and a bunch of other adult fantasy. I don't know if you've read Robin Hobb before.
I have not read. I bought one of the books. I think it's The Assassin's Apprentice is the
Yep,
one.
that's her first one.
So I think I was watching, who was it that reads Becca in the books is like
Yep,
huge fan of Robin Hobb.
love Robin Hobb.
So it was upon her talking about it that I ended up buying that one. I just haven't started it yet.
I'd seen her and a bunch of other booktubers like Jade and Ro doing the I think it's the Elderling-A-Long with Ashley as well from Frolic Through Fiction, where they've
Mhm,
been reading all of Robin Hobb's books for like a book club. It's been
mhm.
going on for like over a year now, I think. And I was determined to start reading them, but I also got these from Book Depository, but I also got the British
Yeah.
cover.
They're much better than the US ones.
Stunning. Like I'm gonna be getting all of Robin Hobb's books from here now. And then also I have the British cover for um the Mistborn trilogy by
Mhm.
Brandon Sanderson because they're also stunning. Like
Yeah, well,
I think for adult fantasy, they nail it with the book covers.
for sure. I generally am of the opinion that UK covers are pretty much exclusively better than American covers. Like, occasionally, you'll get the American cover that really knocks it out of the park, but for the most part, I'm just like, "Mm, we need to switch around our designers or something because this
Right?
is not doesn't work for me."
Absolutely, I agree. That's those two books that I picked up are from my stack of books that I need to finish before the end of the year. That like I've started and stopped reading.
Yeah.
For one reason or another. I've got 4 there, but I'm planning tomorrow on doing a 24-hour readathon
Okay.
and trying to finish all of them. So I have Assassin's Apprentice to finish. I'm about halfway through. I'm about a third of the way through Well of Ascension. The second book in the Nevermore series by Jessica Townsend.
I love
Like
that series so much.
I'm like 50 pages into Wondersmith, and I just read like those 50 pages when I started the book, and like I fly through these books, so I need to finish that because I have
Yeah.
Hollowcocks on my shelf as well.
It's so good. That's my, like, favorite, middle grade, like, way more enjoyable to me than Harry Potter, which, like, I'm glad
Yeah,
because, like, I want something else to push that gives me that same feeling.
absolutely.
Um, Tara E. Did I say your name correctly? Please let me know if I pronounced it right. She just dropped in. I'm assuming you're a she. Sorry, that was my bad. They just dropped in for sprints. 11/22/63. Is that Joe Hill
I think
or is
that's
that
Stephen King.
Stephen King? Okay. One of the, because they're family, right? That's his son. Joe Hill is his son,
I
right?
have no idea. I have one Stephen King book on my entire bookcase. It's on my to be read shelf, and it's The Green Mile. It's my mom's edition of The Green Mile, where it's
Mhm.
like the individual publications of the 6 little novellas that go together and make the individual book. Um,
Okay.
but my dad's read all of them, and I think I got him that for Christmas one year.
Okay.
Also have Nevermore right beside you. Need to finish it too. Amazing. Do it because it's amazing. It's so whimsical and it's so magical. It's got
So
that great middle grade, like, cozy feeling to it.
mhm. Okay, good.
It's
Phew.
great.
Sorry, Tara. Sorry about that. Um, but yeah, no, I haven't. I think the only thing by Stephen King that I have ever read is Salem's Lot. Oh Lord. Decline. Sorry, my mother's calling me.
Okay.
Sorry about that. I thought I canceled it on my watch and then it tried to come through my computer.
It's
Sorry.
like, "Okay, I will try again."
Lord have mercy. But yeah, the Salem's Lot's the only thing I've ever read by him. I've heard he's kind of writes about weird things, like stuff that's a little problematic, but that's not necessarily going to make me not read him.
Yeah.
But it does make me not sure which of his things I want to read because some of it's kind of weird. I don't know if you feel the same way about it, but
I do, but only because, like, I've only read one thing. I read the novella, The Body,
mm,
which is what made the movie Stand By Me, and I read that for 12th grade English. That was one of our, um, assigned books, and I really liked it, but I don't know, my dad is a huge Stephen King fan, but I've never found one of his books to be oh, wait, no, that's a lie, I have read another one. I read Under the Dome because I wanted to
mhm,
watch the TV show when it came out, and I did enjoy that, that one was cool. But I read it a long time ago, and, like, I'd be interested to start reading more, but I think I'd, like, have to find out which ones I'd want to read, because I don't think all of them would appeal to me. I'd like to try and read some of his, like, the ones that are, like, classic horror, like, I'd like to read Carrie, I'd like to read Pet Sematary, It, like, I think
mhm,
that would be fun to do in, like, the fall, like, near Halloween to try and read all the classic Stephen King horrors.
yeah,
Um, but I don't know, I just bought my dad actually for Christmas, I got him his newest release, Billy Summers, so that'll be fun. That's like a tradition, I always get him a new Stephen King for Christmas because there's always a new one out.
yeah. I want to know what like he does to be so prolific. Him and Brandon Sanderson, they just churn that shit out, and I'm like, do you guys
Well, I
sleep?
mean
Do you eat? Like,
I know he had a massive, drug problem, like, he was really in the '80s, and I can't imagine I know Brandon Sanderson writes his books, like, his 1,000-page books in, like, a couple days, like, he goes and writes, like, 30,000 words at a time. It's insane. I've read one of the thing he wrote it on, like, his blog or something like that, and I saw it that he said that he wrote, like, the last Mistborn book or something like that, or one of the, Stormlight Archive books, and, like, he just wrote for, like, 10,000 words, took a quick break, wrote another 10,000 words, took a quick break, like, just goes for it, and I'm like, "How?"
I mean,
Uh,
just the time of typing, he must type very quickly.
he must type quickly, and I think also he spends, like, a year outlining, and, like, he's gotta spend a year, like, planning, and then just sits down and goes for it. Uh,
Eight.
it's her first Stephen King, never read any of his horror stuff. Well, I hope you like it, I've heard that one's really good, like, I've all
Mhm.
of my family members that have read 11/22/63 really enjoyed it, so, I really hope you like it.
I read his book on writing, the nonfiction about
Oh,
Stephen
did you?
King's life. Yeah, and it corroborates the drug use, like, that was a huge thing for him. I think most of his early work was written in, like, a drug-induced stupor.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure
Yeah.
that's where a lot of the, like, biggies came from back
Mhm.
back in the day, but I think as well, like, with people like Stephen King, like the famous authors like Stephen King, even like Jodi Picoult and all that kind of stuff, like, I think there has to be some element of for the people that are publishing, like, 2, 3 books a year, I think there's gotta be some element of ghostwriting happening,
Hmm.
at least a little bit. I think that's my, like, theory about James Patterson because there's no way that man writes as much as he actually does, like, he'd never have a life.
Like Nora Roberts.
Yeah, well, I don't know about Nora Roberts because romances, I know you can write a lot faster than you can any other type of story.
I don't know
Um,
though, 'cause I don't like, I know she does a lot of romance, but she also does, like, a lot of mystery and, like
does she? Oh, I didn't know that.
she
Never mind.
has
I could be
so
totally wrong then. Uh,
no, I've not read her, but just my, husband's grandma loved
mhm,
her, and just some of the reading the synopsis of stuff that, we've bought for her over the years is, like,
yeah,
not strictly romance and so many things, but some people just have the gift and can churn it out super quick, and it's not me. Not me.
absolutely. I think my reason for thinking James Patterson does it is because, my dad has told me when he's read, um, some of the more recent books that he can kinda tell it's different. Like, there's some of the
Mhm.
books that he feels weren't actually done by James Patterson because he's read every book that has ever come out from him. And there's, like, a few where he's just like, "I don't know, like, it's a little funky."
Yeah.
And my dad's pretty good at finding that kinda stuff. Tara says, "I've heard that about either James Patterson or John Grisham, it makes me not wanna read them." I don't know, it kind of, like, makes me wanna read them a bit more because I wanna, like,
See if
see
you
if
can tell.
I Also, ghostwriting is such a, um just such an interesting job. I'd wanna, like,
You don't get any credit for it, and it's
get
like, you
credit,
do
and
it
often you're like, nobody gets to know that you're the one that wrote this book that could be a bestseller because it's under somebody else's name. Like, I'd wanna support that as much as I could because it's like, "Go you. You nailed it."
Mhm,
Like, and I think it's
mhm.
such a talent to be able to mimic somebody else's writing voice.
It's true,
I can't imagine being able to do that. That takes a lot of talent.
for sure.
I'd love
So
to know, like, how they're compensated for that, like
yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna probably do a Google deep dive after we get off here and try to figure out because that is an interesting thing, like, how does one even get into that, for 1? And for
Yeah,
2, what's the compensation? And for 3, do you have any rights to it at all? Like, do
yeah.
you get royalties? Like, I'm curious.
I'm sure they gotta get some type of royalties because that's how every writer gets paid, right? Like, or
Unless they
after
get, like, a lump
advances.
sum at the beginning.
Well, I know that royalties only from what I know about the publishing world, you get an advance that's split up usually over the course of a couple of years. And then once your advance earns out, so as once you sell enough books to make up your advance, that's when royalties start coming in. You don't get royalties unless your book
Okay.
sells out, or unless you like make up that amount of your advance. So that's why like advances that are so huge can kind of be like a catch 22 because if you don't sell as well, you never get any royalties for that book.
That makes sense. Makes sense. You wanna
Um,
start for 30 more minutes until 4:35?
yeah, let's do that.
Alrighty.
See how far we can get. Tara, I don't know if you know, but we're doing a read along of the Winternight Trilogy by Katherine Arden. So that's what both of us are reading right now. It's The Bear and the Nightingale. It's our December book, but we're going to be reading Girl in the Tower in January and Winter the Witch in February if you wanted to join us because
Yes.
it's been fun.
Please do, so we can all fangirl over this series when we finish it. So
Okay, let's
do a mute.
start the sprint. 30 minutes. Oh my god, look at it. Look at that. What's your cat's name?
Sorry, I was trying to find the unmute button. This is Ginger.
Oh,
She's being a little sweetie, so I figured I'd put her on display for a bit.
that's a fantastic choice. Oh, Terry, you've been wanting to read The Bear and the Nightingale. Yes, do it. Do it, do it, do it.
Do it.
We love it. We both read the first 2 books and are excited to read the 3rd one for the first time in February. That's kind of what inspired this, so do it.
Alright. I'm gonna call my mother real quick since she needed me, so I will be right back.
Good idea, no worries. We will sprint and we will talk when we get back.
Okie doke. We are a couple minutes over. But that is okay.
Look at that.
Look at us go.
The sun is setting, and you can tell. I just looked up, and I saw that it looked so bright because of my computer screen.
Yeah, it's getting dark here, too. Oh, my goodness.
How did you do?
Let's see. I think I read about 30 more pages, which is surprising because I spent a lot of that time on the phone with my mom. So, but it's getting to the good stuff.
Nice, nice. I'm on page 99 now of the ebook, so I got about 45 ebook pages in. So I should be around the 60-page mark in the.
Princess, what are you reading right now? She said hello again, and I don't think I asked her what she was reading.
Yeah, I don't think we know.
Did I interrupt you, Emma? I'm sorry. It's sometimes really hard to tell who's talking when.
It's all good. You're good. No worries.
I did not mean to. Sorry.
A few more people watching, I think, than before we started the sprint. Does anybody else want to talk about what they are reading? How well the sprint went?
If you're doing anything other than reading, I know some people use this time for productivity. In the Dream House. I feel like I know.
That sounds very familiar.
Let me just do a heckin' Google. Oh, ma'am.
Gotta love Google.
Why are you yelling at me? Oh, yes, okay. That is, from what I have heard, supposed to have some, like a list of trigger warnings for it.
Is it a memoir? Because I feel like.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, it is. I think I know what it is.
It's like about an abusive relationship with the writer's ex-girlfriend, I believe.
Yeah, one of my friends, Coley, actually just did a reading vlog, and she just read it and said it was probably her favorite book she read this year. It made me really want to read it.
Yeah, I've heard it's good.
Tara says she read 21 pages of 11/22/63, halfway through now. Awesome. Are you enjoying it?
Good job. And like Stephen King, his writing is dense too. So to get through 20 pages during that time is, yeah, good.
The books are also massive, so like the pages are
for sure.
Awesome. I'm like, you were just talking about the moment where like her father meets Morozko, and I'm just past that now. Like he's just returned from Moscow, so I just had that whole interaction, and I like highlighted so many moments on the Libby document so that when my editions come in, I can go and highlight them actually, because like I want to know where I want to keep like the highlights and everything. So I want to try and annotate it since it's my rereading.
Yeah.
And like I'm sitting there just like
I know. So exciting when you see a little
Queen, even though it's not on your TBR, myself and Jasmine are buddy reading it. Amazing. I love Star Touched Queen. I read it a few years ago now. I still need to read the sequel. It's really good.
Who writes that?
I think it's Russian Bakshi.
Oh, okay. Did she do the Gilded
Wolves? Yep.
Okay.
She also did the what's it called? The middle grade series, R. Shaw.
Oh yeah. I've heard really good things about
which
that.
I also really loved. But Star Touched Queen is cool because it's like a Hades and Persephone retelling, but it's using Hindu mythology. Like it was really good. I really enjoyed it.
That sounds good.
It was probably actually I realized after the fact it was probably the first Hades and Persephone retelling I ever actually read because I read it a long time ago. I've got it up on my shelf. It's just hanging. It's it's on the top shelf above above this one.
Oh, okay.
I need to read the sequel though because there's a second book. It's a duology.
Yeah, I'm terrible at finishing series. I don't know if other people have that problem, but I'll read the first book of something and navigate away from it to read something else and never come back to it. So that's a goal that I have, is to try to finish more series because I have lots of them.
Yeah, I want to make a bullet journal spread for next year for 2022 of all the sequels that I have because I have so many, especially like last books in a series. Like I have Queen of Volts from the Ace of Shades series. I have Girls of uh, Fate and Fury, I wanna say, the 3rd book in the Girls of Paper and Fire series. I have, what else do I have over here? I have, like, all the sequels to the Diviners because like, I love the Diviners, but I haven't finished it yet.
Yeah, I tried Libba Bray. I think I read what was it? Going Bovine by Libba Bray, and I hated it. It was, like, one of the worst things that I've ever read. It was
Oh
a
my
fever
god,
dream. The entire
really?
yeah. He
I'd
he
never
gets
even heard
mad
of it.
cow. That's why it's called Going Bovine. The main character gets mad cow,
Oh my
and
god.
you don't know what's real and what isn't the entire time pretty much, and it was just maybe I just didn't get it, but I've been disenchanted with her ever since. So I had the Diviners, and I think I ended up unhauling it because it was long and there were several of them, and I'm just like, I don't know
I've
about
only read the Diviners. You just got the Fairyloot edition of the last book in Girls Paper Fire. Jealous. Oh, I bet it's gorgeous. Um, I have
speaking.
I read the Diviners for, a readathon back in 2018, I wanna say, and I loved it. I
Mhm,
read it in October, so, like, the ghost element to the historical fiction was fantastic because like, it's historical fiction set in 1920s New York, and, like, a bunch of the characters have these, like, special abilities, and there's also, like, a murder mystery happening, but the
mhm.
murderer is a ghost, and it's really cool, and I have the rest of the series, and I need to finish it, but it's the only Libba Bray I've ever read. Um,
The premise always sounded so interesting, but I was just so
I mean,
uh,
if you have a bad experience with an author, like, it's really hard
mhm,
to make yourself read another book by them, I totally get it.
yeah, yeah, and it was, like, highly that book was highly recommended to me, and I'm just like, "Is there something wrong with me?" Because I did not, at
No,
all.
not at all, like, I my biggest and most probably controversial book hatred on BookTube is I hate The Cruel Prince.
Ah,
Like, I despise it. I love fairy stories, and I like Holly Black. I loved the Spiderwick Chronicles when I was a kid, so I was so excited to read The Cruel Prince. Hated it. Hated every second of it. And so, like, she's got a new adult fantasy book coming out soon. I forget what it's called, but it just I think the cover just got released. And I really wanna read it because it sounds really good, but I'm very, like, hesitant because I hated The Cruel Prince so much.
I liked The Cruel Prince, but I think I went into it with
Yeah.
little or no expectations whatsoever about it. Yeah, I remember Princess talking in one of her videos about how she did not like The Cruel Prince at all, but she has the series and, wants to finish it, I think, 'cause
Mhm.
it does get better after that, but I've read the entire series, and quite honestly, I can understand why people don't like it, but I enjoyed myself. It was entertaining. You know how
I
you, like,
tried it
read
multiple.
garbage and you know it's garbage, but you keep reading it anyway? That's kind of the way that was.
Do you see the entirety of my Sarah J. Maas shelf? Yes, I do enjoy reading.
Yeah.
I enjoy that. I have, like I don't even know, I didn't like the characters, so, like and I didn't like I thought I'm not a big fan of urban fantasy,
Mhm,
where it's, like, set in the partially in the real world, so, like, that element took me right out of it at the beginning.
mhm.
And then I don't know, I just really didn't like the characters, and, I really didn't connect with it. Like, I tried reading this book 3 times. I tried reading the physical copy, and I tried the audiobook twice, and I got a good way through, and then I gave up every time. So I think that's just, like, a sign that I needed to stop trying. It's BookTube's fault, though. Actually, though, like,
Yeah.
actually, though, that's one of the only
Mhm.
times that I've been outright disappointed with a BookTube,
Well,
rec
yeah, she says they said it's love to hate. It's really just hate the entire first book, and so you're led to think that something's gonna happen, and it doesn't really. It takes off a little bit more in the second one, and the third one is weird, but it was a good finish to what the
Okay.
series was, so if you ever get, bored and you have the Libby app, so you don't even have to buy it, you could just
I went and, like honestly, though, I went and read all the spoilers because people were talking about it, and I was feeling
Mhm.
FOMO, so I was like, "Well, I need to know what happens. I don't care. I'm not gonna read it, but I wanna know what happens." So I read all
Yeah.
the spoilers. It's like that and I struggle with the Mortal Instruments series or any Cassandra Clare book. I
I
read the Mortal Instruments when I was in high school, like, as it was coming out, and, like, it was fine. I enjoyed it. I tried rereading City of Bones a couple years ago, and I really didn't enjoy it, but I've heard that, like, the other series after The Mortal Instruments are much better than The Mortal Instruments, so I'm tempted to try with, like, I think it's the Infernal Devices is the one set in the past, the first sequel series.
I can't get on board with the incest trope and, like,
100%.
pushing that whole thing for as long as she did and still having them be attracted to each other and and
Yeah.
I knew from the beginning that they weren't, like, I just knew they weren't gonna be, but it was the fact that she just, like, stuck with it for as long as she did, and I tried. Yeah, I think I stopped at City of Heavenly Fire, yes, same, wanted to throw myself over a bridge, and it just, like I stopped reading it, and like you, I think it was back in 2018, I tried to read the first one, and her writing is bad, like, real I'm surprised it got published. I was trying to read this, I'm like, "Did, like,
It was, like, the height of, like, urban fantasy dystopia, though, like, it was honestly, though, like, with I'm scared to reread any of my favorites from that time period because I can probably guarantee it's probably the same quality as City of Bones,
Yeah,
and that makes me sad, so I'm just avoiding it, I'm not gonna do it. I'm gonna keep the good memories. I think
yeah."
the only one that, like, probably would be able to make it out unscathed is The Hunger Games.
I reread those recently, and they hold up.
Good, good, that makes me happy.
They
Highly
do.
recommend the Infernal Devices. Okay, okay. See, I've heard that a lot, and it's like, I'm scared to try it. Same kind of thing with you and Libba Bray. It's like I was
Mm-mm. I've written Cassandra Clare off, like, I had every one of her books in hardback, and never read any of the other, like, offshoots,
yeah.
um, and I had the Infernal Devices, and I think I maybe started the first one in that, and it was just one of those things. She's one of those that puts so many books out, I'm like, "I have so many other things to read," like, and I just yeah.
I think it's just my FOMO. Like, it's my FOMO because so many
Mhm.
people are talking about the newest series, like, and my favorite booktuber of all time is Emma Books, so, like, she talks about it so highly, and I'm like, "I want to like it. I want to feel this happiness, but I don't know if it's gonna happen." And it's like, there's a risk there. Trying and really hating it. But like
And
you
it's
said, I have
time
too many books to
investment.
read. I've got one of these Billies right beside me that is full, and it's all books I haven't read yet.
Mhm. Yeah. I've kind of just adopted this thought process that, I will die before I finish all the books I wanna finish, so I'm not going to, like, spend any time on an author that I'm not 100% in for at this point.
I've really
Um,
embraced DNFing for the
yeah,
same reason. It's like life's too short to read a book that you're not liking.
yes. You said you just have okay. I just have to finish City of Heavenly Fire, and I'll be done with Mortal Instruments. I really wanna read The Dark Artifices in the last hours. I mean, you do you, boo. Let me know. I will live vicariously through you as you do that. And, maybe you'll convince me to change my tune about it, but
Oh, that's amazing. Most of your office is unread. For the longest time it was, like, I went and I tried to separate out all of my unread books once, and it was more than what was left over of read books, and so I was like, "Okay, I'll keep them all together," but then recently, I have been reading a lot more in the last little while, and I haven't been buying as many books, so I've been doing well. It's probably gonna change soon. I love the little ginger
yes,
over there.
she's a sweet girl. She's been yelling. I don't know if people have been hearing her yell, but
She's so cute.
I think she's getting hungry. She's the only girl. I have 3 boys around her somewhere, and they pick on her, unfortunately, but
It's the
she
dog cat.
she screams like a human child. It's very alarming when it happens, so I died. I was on the phone with my mom, and she's trying to talk to me, and I'm laughing because of your seeing her and thinking she's a dog, and yeah, she does act like a dog, though, so at least, there's that. Um, that's so funny. Big puppy. You're hilarious.
That's so funny. Oh, man. I don't know. I think I've been, like I last night I finished, Universal Wishes, which is an anthology that's edited by Danielle Clayton, and it's, like, all queer BIPOC fantasy sci-fi short stories, YA,
Ooh,
and I
fancy.
started reading it in February. This has been my book that's been sitting on my bedside table, and I've just
Mhm.
been reading short story after short story, and I finished it last night. I went and read, like, probably 5 stories, the last 5 stories. I loved it, like, so much. I really enjoyed it. There's some stories that are better than others, obviously, the last one made me cry. The last one was really cool. It was written in like it was called Habibi, which I believe is Arabic for my beloved or just beloved in general. And it's told in like these magical letters. Like let me show you the pages because like it's written in a different font in general too that looks like handwriting.
Oh, okay.
And it's a story of these two people who are both in prison. One is in prison in Palestine, and one is in prison in the States. And they just randomly woke up to another person's letter in their cell. Like it was like a magical thing that they write this letter and then it disappears, and the next morning it wakes up in that person's cell. And so it's them talking to each other about their experiences and stuff like that. And it's kind of part like the beginnings of like a romance. And it made me bawl. So unexpected crying at the end of it. But it was fantastic. I really loved all the stories. One of them, hilariously, there's one by Libba Bray. And apparently it's like a spin-off of her Great and Terrible Beauty series that I'd never read. So I was so confused reading it. I'm just like, who are these people? Like, what's going on? And then I realized I'm like, oh, it's part of a series. Okay.
I have no context for this.
But it was really good. I really enjoyed that. But that was my 99th book of 2021.
And more than double my reading. I've maybe 45 books, maybe.
But like the first 9 months of this year, I wasn't in school and living in Ontario. I think I worked. Oh, bye-bye. I think I worked maybe 3 months total in the first 9 months of this year because we kept getting locked down and I worked at a gym, which kept getting shut down.
Yeah.
Because of COVID and restrictions and stuff like that. So I was off for like 6 months out of this year and I did nothing but read. I've never read this much in my life.
That's awesome though that you had the chance to do that.
That was lovely, but I need to I'm determined to finish all the books that I have finished here that I'm going to do the 24-hour readathon for tomorrow. And then I have a whole stack that's my December TBR of the Christmas books that I also want to read. But so I'm kind of, and then there's Bear and the Nightingale that I need to finish.
You got some time on that one though, at least. And it's not too long.
I do that one, especially since it's a reread. It should be quick. How are you doing with your reading goal?
I mean, I had set 21 and 21, and obviously at 45 I've surpassed that. But I want to finish Bear and the Nightingale. It happened one summer, and then I think I have Skyward over there by Brandon Sanderson, and I wanted to start Words of Radiance. I know, obviously, I'm not going to finish Words of Radiance. It took me forever to finish Way of Kings, also because I was listening to the audiobook and then it would get returned and then I'd have to check it back out. So those were the rest of my TBR. There's my child. He's been asleep for 2 hours, and I'm like, oh my god. But
I've got a audiobook going as well. That's Seven Fallen Feathers by Tanya Talaga. And it's Racism, Death, and Hard Truths in a Northern City. It's about it's a nonfiction about a residential school in Thunder Bay, which my cottage is very close to Thunder Bay. So I was really excited to see a nonfiction audiobook read by the author talking about residential schools because I don't think I've ever actually read one. I've learned a ton about them in university. Hilarious. I never learned about it in high school, which was just sad.
There's a lot of stuff in American culture they don't teach you in high school either. So
in Canada, I live in a city where literally 20 minutes away, the last residential school closed a year after I was born. I was alive while one of the residential schools was still going. And one of the most infamous ones is in my town. And I'd been there on a school field trip in university because it's a museum now. We have it's called a Woodland Cultural Center, which is actually a museum library, all Indigenous run, that is attached to the school now because the school is part of the museum. And I had no knowledge. They didn't talk about it in high school. It was never part of the curriculum, which was disgusting. So I'm when I learned about it in university, I was like, how is this a thing? And how have I not known about this? Because we live about 20 minutes away from the largest reserve in Canada. and it was the first reserve to ever be established. So like I'm determined to find as much nonfiction written by local Indigenous people as I can. So I'm listening to things really so far.
It's crazy because like I just growing up, it seems like Canada was always kind of like the paragon of like goodness. Like there wasn't as much dirty laundry, but there's always dirty laundry.
There's
It
always
seems
dirty
like.
laundry.
And
Canada,
I've learned so
Canada's
much
history
about
of
it.
colonialism and its treatment of Indigenous people is disgusting,
Yeah.
and more
It's
people need to know about it.
it's bad. It's bad up there. It's bad here. Like native folk in the US, I almost are almost completely invisible. Like
Yeah.
we talk about what was done to the Black population, Black
Mhm.
Americans, with slavery and all of that horribleness, but there's just really not a lot of focus on the genocide and all of the things that happened with Native Americans, and the fact that there's still fucking Columbus Day. Like, thankfully, a lot of people are changing it to Indigenous Peoples Day.
Mhm.
A lot of, like, organizations and governments, I would assume it's kind of happening because like, calendars are getting printed with Indigenous Peoples Day instead, so I
I've
don't
heard
know.
that, which makes me happy. We have a huge issue with Canada Day. It's
Mhm.
our Independence Day basically, but like there's a lot of people, myself included, who don't celebrate it anymore just because,
Mhm.
like, again, nobody's been talking about what Canada, like, what was involved in the forming of Canada.
Mhm.
It's never discussed. It's never talked about. It's kind of like similar. There's a book that's I think I don't remember what exactly it's called, but it's about Australia Day in Australia, and it's a similar concept. It's like we need to talk about what the point of it is now.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people use Canada Day now to nobody in like an official capacity, but a lot of people on their own have decided to start using Canada Day as a way to focus on and like educating yourself and learning about the history of Canada.
Mhm.
But yeah, like you said, Canada has this reputation of being like this great, like little happy-go-lucky place, and it's really not. But like one of my friends is a Twitch streamer, and she was raising money for a organization up here in Canada that is providing fresh drinking water to reserves because like 50% of reserves in Canada don't have clean drinking water. And it's
It's
like then one of them, there's the largest reserve that in Canada, the first ever one that was created, lives is 20 minutes away from me. It's massive. There are parts of that reserve that also do not have clean drinking water, but everywhere in my city does. It's like, where does that
how? How
how is that possible without being intentional? Like,
Oh, it's absolutely intentional, and it's just disgusting, the whole thing
it's crazy. Anyway, this book is really good. Seven Fallen Feathers, if anybody is interested in learning more. It's a fantastic book so far.
let me go add that to my Goodreads right now. That's the only way I ever seem to remember anything is if I put it in my Goodreads list.
Smart. I have like I've been trying to read or listen to nonfiction book every month this year because I need to read more, and I've been really enjoying memoirs.
Ooh, okay.
They've been they've been helping me with that, and I love listening to memoirs on audio because often they're narrated by the author themselves. So
Okay. Is it this?
yeah.
Okay, cool. Alrighty. Well, if it's all right with you, my child, he wakes.
Hello.
So he feels hungry. Yeah.
Hey, sleepy.
So I'm gonna get this little man some dinner, and it's been fun. And I'm glad we've got like 5 people that were watching us. Look at us go.
I know, right?
We're
We did
moving up in the world. So
That's fine. That's fine with me. It's about 5 o'clock now, so I should probably get myself something to eat as well.
awesome. We'll discuss live show things for
Yes.
whenever we're gonna do that.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah, this was super fun.
Yes. And I'll chat with you later.
Okay.
Bye, friend.
Bye, friends.